us to drive them out. Danger, danger, there's fascists in the White House. Check one, check two, more. One's got to be out first. Charlie, because I didn't want to get nothing. Turn down a little bit. Because you get a little pressure in there, those things get messed up, man. It's not for me. Help me. Check 1, 2. More trouble, please, on the EQ. No. In the name of humanity, we refuse a fascist America. No, I don't use of humanity. We refuse a fascist America. No. I know it's yes, I wrote your phone, huh? We refuse. Well, I'm good, so I don't know what's wrong with you. It's kind of crooked. Maybe you can help me straighten that out. See how this is crooked? Yeah. No, we're getting another battery. Actually, it's not too bad. No, it's not bad at all. Okay. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Tell everybody to cut their TVs off and join live. Check 1, 2. 1, 2. Downtown Chicago at the Federal Building. At least you're okay for what we're doing here, right? Absolutely. 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
And there was a little bit of a 35% raindrop.
1, 2. Check 1, 2.
What's up, Mr. Clements? Hey, I'm blessed. God is good. And when we tell you we out here in the cold, I want to tell you it's a nice sunny day.
person. So they think that I'm two different people in the same fucking thing. So I can't post pictures on the whole thing. I gotta post pictures on the phone. Okay. So what I'll do so to make sure that you request a new friendship on the new one, I'll send you a message telling you to do that. Right there, you go to your home page, that Facebook, and then I get the request and I'll put it on.
Okay.
Otherwise, I got the problem.
I'll make sure. I'll look after that.
I'll
Thank
get
you.
the pictures to you. I don't know where.
Hey, so you don't, so just in case you don't record.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Papa Prince has got to go. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Papa Prince has got to go. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Trumpet Prince has got to go. Trumpet Prince has got to go. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Everybody knows. Everybody Is it loud enough? Because we want to get this straightened out in the beginning. We don't want people going, oh, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. All right.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Chicago, let's get this few things straight here.
Excuse me, sir, I'm sorry.
We called for this rally on November 4th.
Sorry about that. Excuse me.
Back in August, and immediately right-wing trolls, fascists, Nazis, and the ilk started creating conspiracy theories about it, making up wild fantasies in their minds about what was happening today. Let's be clear, we're launching a movement today. It begins. We're going to protest every day. We are going to grow and grow until we reach our millions in the streets, a la South Korea, a la Egypt, and we're going to raise our demand that this regime is fascist, they are illegitimate, they are not suited to rule anything, let alone the most powerful country on the planet, and we demand they be removed from power. We're not doing that violently, we're doing that for what we still have, so to speak, First Amendment rights. So we need to exercise those while we still have them before we don't have them anymore. But as far as the trolls are concerned, if anyone tries to provoke you, if anyone tries to start some stuff, ignore them. Let the monitors deal with it. Let the police deal with it. We're not here today to fight the Chicago police. We're here to launch a movement nationwide. We're in 22 cities today. How about it? 22 cities. So, as far as the trolls go, yes, we're all snowflakes, we're all libtards, we're all paid by George Soros, and we all live in our parents' basement, and we all don't have jobs, but we're still getting paid by George Soros. So we got that all clear, let's go, right? I need those. I see. All right, we're going to get started right off the bat. This brother was with us right from the beginning when we launched Refuse Fascism here in Chicago. back in December 2016. He's a major activist in the South Asian community. He's an important figure up on Devon Avenue, where we've held and refused fascism rallies and marches, standing in support and solidarity with South Asian, Indian, and Pakistani people against the attacks that surely are coming down and will continue to come down on them. So I'd like to give it up for Salman Aftab from the American Muslim Task Force on Civil Rights and Elections. Give it up for Salman. You guys are going to have to be energetic today with this rain and this cold.
Hey guys, how are ya? Okay, in the name, I start in the name of the God, Almighty God, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Look at this, faith-based outreach. Whether you are a Jew or a Catholic, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, or whatever faith you follow, here is the table right now. Please visit this table and get the flyers and start this movement, faith-based outreach. In the name of humanity, we refuse a fascist America. And I'm going to say this phrase in Arabic, in Persian, which is Farsi or Dari, and in Urdu or Hindi. So first in Farsi. Banam insaniyat ma hich waqt Amerikai fascisti ra qabul nami kunem. And then I'm going to say in Arabic, no, we cannot say that. باسم الإنسانية نحن نفرض نظام السياسية الفاشية في أمريكا. And then I'm going to say in Urdu or Hindi, हम इंसानियत के नाम पर फिस्ताई अमेरिका को कबूल करने से इनकार करते हैं. All these things, I said in the beginning, in the name of humanity, we refuse a fascist America. Okay. This nightmare must end. The Trump-Pence regime must go. We see the nightmare of Muslims and refugees being demonized and banned. Not just Muslim being targeted, but immigrants, women, LGBT, blacks, Latinos, the disabled and elderly. Right now, people all over the world face military aggressions, bombs, and even the threat of nuclear war. This craziness must stop. Trump-Pence regime must go. All of us must stand up. This is a time when everyone has to decide what future they will stand for and will fight for. Many in my communities are fearful. We have to overcome our fear because the future of humanity rests on us to do something great. Stop this catastrophe. In the name of humanity, we must go into the streets and stay in the streets until Trump-Pence regime is gone. The determined struggle of millions of people like us acting together with courage and conviction can drive this regime from power. Believe me. As Trump said, believe me. Today, we begin a process of continuing protests demanding this whole illegitimate regime be ousted from power. We will reach out to all sections of people, spreading everywhere, growing week by week, month by month, with protests increasing in size and determination. Our actions today, brothers and sisters, across the country reflect the values and respects for all humanity. I'm sorry. all humanity and the world we want, in stark contrast to the hate and the bigotry of the Trump-Pence regime. So I'm going to say a pledge. I want you to repeat after me. In the name of humanity, we refuse a fascist America. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Salman. I think he hit all the points right there. That's what we're talking about. It's not just an attack on one group. We can't be consumed and stuck in identity politics. Now is not the time for that. We got to come together. If the other side can unite someone like Donald Trump and these decadent capitalist snort-coking party boys with Christian theocrats and fascists and Nazis and Proud Boys and alt-right freaks and all this stuff, if they can unite and get in power and start to consolidate their power, we, the people who far outnumber them by the millions, can certainly get together and stomp them out. And that's what we need to do. Here's a veteran of the anti-war movement, somebody who's been around and fighting for justice and peace for many, many years. Not that long, because you can see how young he is still. But Father Bob Bossie. How about a hand for Father Bob?
Hi everybody, thanks for coming out. It's a nice day, isn't it? It's a little warm. I came out simply to be present with you because I'm very much interested in dumping Trump. So what did you come out for? Did you come out to dump Trump? I thought so. Maybe I thought I was in the wrong spot. You know, it's not a light thing that I'm saying that for. I really don't have a lot of hostility towards Trump, though I can understand why people do feel that way. My biggest problem is that the policies that he and his administration are enacting, that are killing and destroying people every day, and that are killing and destroying our planet. Did you see the Tribune this morning? Did you see what it said about global warming and global climate change? That it's even worse than they thought, and it just came out. Did you see this morning's Tribune that talked about the USA Liberty Act, where they're giving more rein to the institutional powers to spy on everybody anytime they want without any kind of a warrant? That's in the paper today. That's just what we're hearing about. That every day, if you watch the news, you see them focusing on Trump's latest tweet or another thing about Russia or whatever the case might be. But meanwhile, in the background, there's policy after policy after policy being instituted and changed to destroy you, to destroy your brothers and sisters and your children. And going after one or another policy, or going after one or another issue, which I have done for the last 40 years, is not enough anymore, sisters and brothers. It's time to change this filthy, rotten system, as Dorothy Day has said to us. And I don't say that lightly. I say that because it seems to be the only thing that will make a difference in our world. This, for me, is not God's world. The God that I give my allegiance to, that I live my life for, does not want this kind of a world. And I intend to do what I can to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Bob. I mean, it's a little rain. Think about that little girl who was just removed from the intensive care unit, 10-year-old girl with cerebral palsy, removed from the emergency intensive care unit of the hospital by ICE agents so they can arrest her, lying in her hospital bed. Think of the terror they're inflicting on that child. Think of the child, the 5-year-old boy they locked up in an airport and handcuffed him to a bench during the Muslim ban. Think of the terror. Think of the girl, the young girl, where they whipped her father out of the car, driving her to school in Colorado, and arrested him and deported him. This is the kind of thing that happened, yes, in Nazi Germany in 1933. And the problem is that a lot of people are comparing Nazi Germany in 1944 or 1940 to Donald Trump in 2017, and you can't. It didn't start out with gas chambers and concentration camps and trains. It started out with harassment and scapegoating and vilifying and calling Jews vermin, just like Trump is doing to Mexicans and Puerto Ricans without saying it by allowing genocidal conditions. This is murder. Whether it's genocide slow or fast, we're going to have a say in that. And we're going to prevent what's been a slow genocide in the black communities for many decades now from ramping up into a fast genocide, and that's going to take everybody. White people, black people, Latino people, Asian people, everybody. Our next speaker is going to be Reginald Sawyer from Two Spirits, Chicago, Indigenous LGBTQ representative. Thank you. How about it for Reginald?
Halito, brothers and sisters. I greet you in my Choctaw tribal language. It means hello. And when I say Halito, you say Halito. Halito. Now, in my Cherokee tribal language, hello is OCO. So we say OCO. OCO? All right. Excellent, excellent. I'm Reginald Sawyer. I am the president of the Chicago Two Spirit Society. We are an organization of Two Spirit, LGBT, indigenous brothers and sisters that are formed at the American Indian Center on August 31st, 2015. And our goal is to not only fight for our own humanity, but also be support to those LGBT brothers and sisters that from our indigenous communities that are still in the closet. Right now, we have a brother right now that is in the closet right now because he's been beaten up on his reservation. But I also want to point out to you. First of all, I need to ask you all: is everybody's phones working? Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know if you've been told or not, but there was supposed to be an electronic post that the military was supposed to start up today, and it was supposed to be surrounding the whole continent. Yeah, okay. Well, apparently when Trump found out about today's worldwide protests in 22 cities, well, I guess it wasn't happening, so, oh well, too bad for him. First of all, I will make one clear. He is not my president. In my eyes, he is the demon in the White House that has no business being there. Now this morning, actually yesterday, he really showed his ass when he said that it's all about that the only thing that's important is him. He don't care about he let them know he don't care about nobody. But he also declared that he's going to do martial law in all 5 cities. Excuse me, Trumpy boy. This revolution is in 22 cities. Did you not get the memo? But I will tell you, this man and his regime, Trump and Pence, are demons. They have no business being in the White House. They are illegitimate. They don't give a damn about nobody. They don't give a damn about us indigenous people, us LGBT people. They don't give a damn about Latinos, Mexicans, what have you. And the sad part about it is their damn supporters are so stuck on stupid, including, and these people are supposed to be God's children. The evangelist, Jim Baker, yes, he's going around, him and his crew are going around declaring a war, a Christian war on everybody if we impeach him. Oh, here's what I got to say about that. What you gonna do, Jim Baker? You really asked for a can of whoop ass on your ass. But it's not happening. Because in their eyes, Trump can do no wrong. He can do no wrong. They don't care. They will fight. They will fight to protect him. But they will not get off their ass and send money or donations to those brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico, in Texas, in Florida, and any other victims that are suffering right now, even in Vegas. So what the hell is Okay, well, so what the hell is he gonna do? FEMA's not even doing shit either.
He's
So-
actually dismantling FEMA.
So they say.
Yeah.
But we know that's a bunch of bullshit. Don't believe the lies, don't believe the hype. We all have to remember that today we're here to show Trumpy boy, Pissy boy, and all his administration that we the people have the power, not him. So in closing, keep this fight going. Stand together. We're all in it together. And also, I want to give a shout out. Yanasha Longwolf will be speaking at the Chicago Public Library South Shore Branch, 205 East 73rd Street tomorrow from 1:30 to 3. Be there to support her, and she will tell her story. All my relations.
Thank you, Reginald. We're going to try to keep things moving for everybody. Again, we know it's cold and rainy, but we had that pep talk already. Next up, can we see how many students are here today? Representing. We know that no resistance movement of any value is really going to come to fruition without students being in the front. The bottom line is here today, because of the weather, because of different circumstances, maybe fear held people back. But the thing is, if they allow you to be scared and stay home this time, where is their direction headed? They're on a rampage. We have to draw a line. That's why I like what Eminem did. He drew a line, said, no, if you're on that side, you're not with me. That's what we need to do, and we need the youth to be in front. Every single person here has to leave today and become 10 people. We've been saying that for a year. We are not paid by George Soros, actually, believe it or not. We are out here because we're human beings, and we care about the planet, and we care about humanity. And if you're a Democrat, if you're a socialist, if you're a Republican, or whatever you are, Refuse Fascism is not one ideology. We have a mission, we have a line, and you should read that. Go to refusefascism.org, check out the literature, and unite all who can be united. We can't have this sectarianism. We have to build this from here. Here's Christina, who's been a brave warrior coming out since the Trump administration came to power from Lane Tech High School, and she's got something to tell you.
What's his full name?
All right. So I'm a high school student, and I don't really have much life experience. I was too young to remember 9/11, for example. I have never lived in a world where people could smoke on airplanes or one without internet. I have not lived through much, but I have always loved history and politics. And so, as young and inexperienced as I am, I know that the Trump-Pence regime is not normal. I have studied the formation of fascist Italy and Nazi Germany. I know the signs. They come from 45's Muslim ban 3.0. They come from his jokes about police brutality. They come from his refusal to denounce murdering thugs who ran down peaceful protesters in Charlottesville and elsewhere. They come from his pardon of Joe Arpaio. They come from his ad hominem attacks and calls to fire Colin Kaepernick for daring to peacefully protest while black. They come from the way he discredits media that criticizes him and actively seeks to undermine truth. This regime is fascist. This president shows blatant disregard for our Constitution. If we do not act, he will continue to shred our civil liberties. He and everyone he has appointed in the White House must go. I am not a particularly intimidating person. I'm a skinny 5'3" white girl. My parents aren't rich, but they aren't poor, and they are educated. This regime still would rather me dead since I'm a lesbian, but I know if things got really bad here, my family has the reasonable means to flee this country to Canada or Western Europe. I do not risk being deported every time I leave my house, or being shot by the police for getting a speeding ticket. I am not here for myself, because if I was, I wouldn't be here at all. If I kept my mouth shut, I would be reasonably safe. But I cannot and will not. I am here because I can do something. I can be there for my best friend who is trans and has severe anxiety and depression and was terrified to leave his house after the election. It is unconscionable to not try to act when faced with evil this great. I am here because I must, and I urge everyone else who can do so to do the same. No person is too small or too young or too insignificant to stand up for what is right.
How about it, Christina? Listen, be like Christina. Remember what Heather Heyer's mom said. She said, I raised her to be strong and independent and act on her convictions, on what she thought was right and what was wrong. What good is teaching your kid these values, these morals, if you don't use them when it's time to use them? This is from a mother who lost her daughter who was run over by a Nazi standing in the street protesting Nazis. That's what we're facing today. We're not making this up. This is reality. And it's a brave sister like Christina to stand up and admit and talk about the privilege. We need more white people to understand that in order for people to become closer in a tighter community. Now, we said we're in 22 different cities today, but I wanted to make sure that Chicago was the funkiest because, look, we're the home from Curtis Mayfield to Donny Hathaway to Nat King Cole, Dinah Washington, Sam Cooke. So I want to get a little chant. We'll get it going here a little bit. This first one, you only have one part to do it. Can you play the line? All you have to do, some people say they've got to go or they must go, but for the song we're going to turn it into gots to go. They gots to go. Trump and Pence. So you guys go. Gots to go. Gots to go. Someone go like Trump and Pence. Gots to go. Everybody, come on. Talking about Donald Trump. Talking about Mike Pence. Talking about Stephen Miller. We're talking about Jared Kushner. And what about Ivanka? Talking about Jeffrey Sessions. Talking about Steve Mnuchin. What about Scott Pruitt? What about Mad Dog Mattis? Talking about Betsy DeVos. Trump and Pence. The whole regime. Trump and Pence. The whole regime. Has to go. What about Ryan Zinke? What about Gary Cohn? Wilbur Ross? Rick Perry? And what about Elaine Chao? Rex Tillerson? Sonny Perdue? Ben Carson? General Kerry? Chris Kobach? And even Melania has got to go. All right, good job. So we already won the battle. Forget Seattle, forget Boston, forget Akron. Chicago's the funkiest. Ed Ward is next. Thank you, Ed, for being patient through the musical interlude.
I'm here because as one of my esteemed people in history have once said, it is time to do what must be done. Those are the words of St. Vincent de Paul. Even though the University of DePaul continues to flirt with racists, even though the University of DePaul continues to flirt with sexists, homophobes, we must do what must be done. The Trump regime must go. We live in a system that calls itself a democracy. But how can we possibly call ourselves a democracy when the very institution of people voted against this man and this racist and this regime, and at the same time, because the electoral colleges have voted him in, we acquiesced? Trump must go. Pence must go. There continues to be a violation of humanitarian rights, and there needs to be a humanitarian intervention across the international scale. When you kill black brothers and sisters in the street, it is a human rights violation. When you destroy the families of our Latino brothers and sisters, it is a human rights violation. When you destroy the lives of the LGBTQ community, it is a human rights violation. When you continue to invoke intellectual genocide in African American and Latino communities once and again, it is a human rights violation. So how many acts of human rights violation must happen before we get this regime out of this country and out of this world? Dr. King says it best. The hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in the time of spiritual and moral crisis maintain their neutrality. Now is the time to do what must be done. What side of history will you be on? They threaten war if Trump is impeached. Well, here's a news flash. War has already begun. You've already waged war against the people deemed the most vulnerable. And we are standing up. We are fighting back. We are not apologizing. We will do what must be done. We are not afraid. We speak all the way to the White House. We serve notice to every politician, Republican, Democrat, Independent, or Green, that now is the time to do what must be done. Now is the time to uproot this system. Now is the time to get rid of a constitution that prides itself on slavery, One of the biggest deceptions is the 13th Amendment, which justifies slavery through criminality. And look at the prison systems where they continue to lock up our black brothers and sisters, where they continue to criminalize our communities and then justify our executions. So we talk about law and order. With all due respect, I can tell you what you can do with your law and order. We can tell you where you can take your law and order. Because far too long, our people have been dying in the streets. Far too long, our families have been ripped apart. Far too long, resources have been snatched from our communities. We've been forced into poverty, and then you blame us for being poor. Now is the time to do what must be done. In the words of St. Vincent de Paul, Dr. King says that if the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. The guilty one is not the one who commits the sin, but the one who causes the darkness. It is this institution and this system of racism that has caused a darkness so vast that sins continue to go out across the world. So let's point out the darkness creators. Drive out the darkness creators so that we can live in a world where we can embrace our brothers and sisters across racial lines, across the lines of gender, which is actually a social construct, across all of the different types of lines, across the lines of diversity, where we can actually embrace our brothers and sisters unapologetically. The Trump regime must go.
Thank you, Minister Ed Ward. Every word.
Yeah, you go.
Next up, we're going to do everyone's favorite part in the middle here. And again, some people think I have the Refuse Fascism private jet sitting over here at on the lake ready to fly to George Soros's underground orb beneath Hungary to collect my paycheck, but that's not happening. We've been busting our asses for every penny, every nickel, every dime. These signs don't print themselves. The page 5 advertisement in the New York Times was not paid for by George Soros. It was paid for by our brothers and sisters pounding the pavement and working their asses off to try to get people to contribute. And if people have money, we know that there's one thing that they can do if they can't get out here and stand in the rain, and that's they can sustain the movement. And I also want to introduce Brody from the Revolution Club. There's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of hysteria about Antifa. And we know that the fascists are trying to rebrand that name and turning it into something. They're calling us Antifa. Well, you know what? Antifa is short for anti-fascist. And if you're not anti-fascist, then you are a fascist. So in that sense, we're all Antifa. Listen, I used to cover my face at protest rallies. There's surveillance cameras everywhere. This is a police state. People have many reasons for covering their faces. That's not the point. You're letting them, the other side, turn the debate into something that it shouldn't be. We need to unite together. If you see the Rev Club, if you see members of the Revolutionary Communist Party passing out their literature, engage with them. Find out what the political line is. What are they saying? And then what are their actions? Do their actions meet what their mission and what they're saying? And judge it on that. And if you disagree, disagree. But don't believe this bullshit and this slanders, especially from the left. And people on the left should be ashamed of themselves for dividing communists and socialists. If you have any idea or any knowledge of what happened in history in Nazi Germany, you know that we have to learn this lesson. The Democrats are not speaking about fascism. We're uniting with Democrats who are frustrated at their leadership. We need to bring more of those people from Indivisible. We're not making a revolution. We're driving out a fascist regime so that someday some of us that hope to make that revolution can continue working towards that. Here's Voidy from the Revolution Club. Give it up.
Yo! I'm so happy to see all of you. And you know, you should look to your left and right and smile at your brothers and sisters to the side of you, because they're in the right place today. All across this country. We're being a part of the thousands that will build up the millions to drive this fascist out. Now I want to call on people real quick. We're going to do a real quick survey. All right. Now how many of you guys heard about this through a billboard, a leaflet on the train, or a sticker? Okay. All right, now how many of you guys heard it from a friend or a coworker, a classmate at school, and came out? All right. Now how many of you guys saw the ad in the New York Times? How many of you went to the website? How many of you heard something in the air about there were people standing up against Trump? Hell yeah! All right, now to get this word out like we need it, we need something. Let's just be real. We need money to get this everywhere. So we got all these people around the crowd with buckets. And I want you to donate generously, because we need this in every nook and cranny of this country. We need cities like Chicago rising up. We need cities like, in Houston where they're emboldened to rise up. We need people in, the suburbs of, Alabama rising up, and being a part of this movement. But we got to reach them. And we got to send this message far and wide, so that people can stand up and know that there are people that have their back and are just about getting out this fascist regime as much as we are. So donate, be a part of it, and let's kick this off like none other. November 4th, it begins!
Right. We're going to keep it rolling. Our next speaker as well, like Salman, has been with us from the beginning. When we put a call out there in December and said we're forming this organization, we had a press conference right here. There was about 6 of us, a couple people standing and watching, and a lot has happened since then, as we all know. And Reverend Greg Greer has been with us that whole time, and right now we're going to welcome him up to the stage to address you. Greg Greer. He's president of Freedom First International, among other things.
Everybody, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's not only afternoon in Chicago, but it is afternoon in America. It's not morning anymore. It's not sunrise. And I tell you, the sun is dark here in the sky. It's for a reason, because there is a dark sky and a dark cloud looming over America. And we know why. Am I right? Today, I am here with Refuse Fascism and all of the coalition partners who are here to say one simple message. The Trump-Pence regime, I was going to say machine, it's not a machine, but it's a regime, must go. One more time, the Trump-Pence regime must go. As we are here and we are seeing the militarization of America in our communities, the poor communities around, not just around America, but around the country and the world, we are seeing rights, human rights that are being assimilated and dismissed in mass numbers every day. We have to watch the sign of the times, because we are saying, we have to stand up and say, and even though it's small numbers of us, if they see leadership, if people who are on the fence, they see our leadership, then what they will do is they will follow. So we have to keep standing up. As we enter into a new world and a new day and age, there has to be a change. Too many lives lost. And I'll give my life for this cause, and I will die for this cause. Are you with me? Are you with me? Let me hear you. Are you with me? Today has to be a change in America. We have to say very loudly and clearly that neocons must go. Power to the people is a serious concept. Power to the people. We have to place the power back into the people. We can't run down to D.C. anymore, because D.C. is a myth that never existed. We can't run to the State House because the State House is not a reality. You can go get some benefits. You might be able to save your electric bill for a month, but then the next month it's going to be cut off if you're waiting on them. We have to stand up finally and say that even if this change is the coming of the next American Revolution, let it come. Let it come. Let it come. We have to say that today, the few of us, the hundreds and thousands that are standing around the country, we have to say very clearly, loudly and strongly, that we are tired of oppression. We are tired of tyranny. Trump Pence represent a small segment of the reality that's out there. And around the world, there has to be a change. So as we enter into this new phase and we're fighting against a phenomenon called the New World Order, we have to let them know very loudly, clearly, and strongly that what you're calling America is a myth, and we will change it. We will stand against oppression, and we will stomp out tyranny. And again, I say it, too much has happened. Too many lives have been lost. I'll give my life for this cause, and I will die for this cause. The Trump-Pence regime must go. 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 Stand with me. Are you with me?
That's right. This is not just a struggle that we're facing here in the United States. We got to be realistic. Whether we're awakened to the struggle or not, it's already happening. It's happening in Turkey. It's happening in Poland. It's happening in Hungary. It's happening in Austria. It's been nearly defeated, barely, in France and other places. That's why we need to look to the 1930s and understand history and what this means. Where does this lead to? And we need to start looking at ourselves as internationalists. We need to start identifying with humanity and not as Americans. Okay, it's okay if you love your country, you love the people of your country, but it's not America first. America first is destroying the planet. Humanity first. That's what we're talking about with Refuse Fascism. Humanity first. We all breathe the same air. We're all going to have to drink the same water. These people are delusional. you know, from years of having so much money and building fences and walls around everything and gated communities and keeping everybody out. And that leads to this misguided thinking about science and turning everything upside down because their ideas don't make sense. They don't make sense because they fucking don't make sense. Right? 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is not 5. Hitler knew that. He knew that he said the people are thirsting for 2 plus 2 to equal 5. We'll make it so. Well, fuck you, Donald Trump. We're not buying it. Next up, we have a great Chicago musician. No, I'm sorry, we don't. We have a great freedom fighter. I don't know if he's a musician. And he's been out in the streets all summer long with the Rev Club in Chicago, trying to organize the black youth in the community to say, stop murdering each other, stop turning the guns and the weapons on each other, on your brothers and sisters. Oppressed people need to stop killing one another and understand where is the suppression stemming from. So I'm going to bring up Brother Noche Diaz from the Revolution Club.
First of all, just so there's no confusion, I am not a musician. But when Trump and Pence go, I will sing and dance like never before. Today, we begin. 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 You are all in the right place today. I don't care how much rain comes down. No amount of rain can wash away clean the blood and the tears that will flow if we do not make Trump and Pence go. There is nothing that can excuse or absolve us of the crime of silence and complicity. And we are here today to say to the world that in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. Now, I am a supporter of the Revolutionary Communist Party. I'm a member of the Revolution Club. And we came here today to express our solidarity with every person and every group that has come out to say that this nightmare must end. Solidarity with every person and every group that has come to stand up against the crimes of this regime, and more than that, to demand that this fascist regime be driven out of office. And we're going to be here, and we're going to be with you, okay, in the days to come, working side by side with people here and the thousands across the country who begin today to grow into the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands, and then the millions to do just that, to make Trump and Pence go. And while I'm here, I want to also urge everyone, if you want to find out really where we're coming from and what this all means, go to our website, revcom.us. I want to encourage people to listen to this talk from Bob Avakian. He was the most radical revolutionary in the world today and the architect of a new communism and the leader of our party. Listen to this talk, the Trump-Pence regime must go. In the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. A better world is possible. Because you're going to hear someone who pours his heart out and his soul into letting you know where this has come from. And you're going to hear someone who shines the light on the whole history of this country and makes you see in your mind and feel in your gut the deep roots of this ugly regime. And you're going to hear a person who gives you a living and real sense of what must be done to get rid of it. Again, you can find that at revcom.us. Get into this. And he gets deeply into all kinds of questions involved in how to make this real and how to make this happen with a lot of humor and heart as well as seriousness. So go to revcom.us. Listen to the talk and the Q&A. And finally, before I get off here, I want to thank everyone here who is taking this first big step together in bringing forward what Refuse Fascism has called this great cause. Because it truly is a great cause. And let this be a cause where we stand with each other. Let's air out our differences and treasure our unity as we go forward to actually drive this fascist regime out and bring a better world into being. Thank you.
Thank you, Noche Diaz. Hey, everyone, we are going to another march, just so everyone knows we're nearing the end of the rally portion here. So hang in there, keep moving, but we're going to get this going. We got a lot of drummers today, so this should be a good march. And speaking of now musicians, we have one of Chicago's finest jazz musicians, saxophonist, vocalist. She's been pounding the pavement. We've been working together as musicians and also now Refuse Fascism. Julie Wood is going to recite a poem that some of you may or may not be familiar with, but everybody needs to know it now. Julie Wood. All right, while Julie's pulling up, does anyone know the Wi-Fi password at Federal Plaza? Just kidding. All right, we're going to do a quick chant. I came up with this one. It's really easy. This half, we divide in half between Rucha and Roydy, right? This nightmare must end. Over here, this nightmare must end. And then there's a rest, okay? And then you guys go, Trump and Pence have got to go. Hold on. Trump and Pence have got to go. This nightmare must end.
Trump and Pence have got to go.
This nightmare must end. Trump and Pence have got to go. This nightmare must end. Trump and Pence have got to go. This nightmare must end. Trump and Pence have got to go. This nightmare must end.
We can rock that one in the march. Don't forget it.
All right, this is from Martin Niemöller. He was a German pastor imprisoned by Hitler from 1937 to 1945. And he said, first they came for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. And then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. And then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. And then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was a Protestant. And then they came for me, and by that time, there was no one left to speak up. So we all have to unite. Don't let them divide and conquer. No divide and conquer.
Yeah, I want the police in the backdrop.
Everyone, and we have to defeat this evil regime.
Right next to the man in the blue. All right, turn around.
Thank you, Julie. Our last speaker before we pound the pavement.
All right. Don't turn. Move back over here. Move this way.
I need to get this out there. Can everyone please?
Yep, there you go.
I'm sure your phone is already in your hand. So, you want to know, and you do, because the people
Okay,
that
I can't see your
have
face.
burning in their heart to hear something like this is not tolerable for the planet. You know, this is the hottest year of 800,000 years of human history.
All right.
You see what's happening around
Guess
the
what,
planet?
ladies
We know
and
that this
gentlemen,
needs to be reversed.
you know what we're dealing with? We are dealing with complete waste of our precious time. First of all, Donald Trump should not be president. That is true. That Donald Trump is someone that has mistreated the people. The bottom line of it is this. What are we going to do about it? Don't you see this big waste here, ladies
And that's going to tell you what's happening. We have these events every day. We got to draw more people in. If we did it in South Korea, we can do it here.
There's crime all over Chicago, and we have literally standing at my security at least. There's cars all and up and down Dearborn. Yes, there will be a talk with Rahm Emanuel, and it will be about wasting precious dollars. Why? We have crime all in Inglewood, all in the Pilsen community, all in the Rogers Park community, all in the Wecker Park community, and they're laughing, they're joking. It must be sweet in Chicago to be a Chicago police officer. First of all, They have gotten away with its tortures, assassinating people in the middle of the streets. They have literally gotten away with John Burge torturing people, Glenn Evans torturing people. How can we forget, watching just this Monday, how Kavada went and he testified to the Fifth about 51 acts of torture. I'm talking about what a waste of tax dollars, ladies and gentlemen. What a big waste of tax dollars. Now we have a clown in the White House. Now we have a clown that, guess what? He wants to strip you of your civil liberties. He wants to take your opportunities away from you. So people, in closing, I hope that you will get a good view of the waste of your tax dollars, because guess what? I guarantee you, if I go to my log and I check how many crimes have occurred in the city of Chicago, the people are going to say, we called the police, but they stated it was no police officer available. So when we tell you, we must remain in the struggle just for this cause here alone to end a waste of tax dollars. Thank you.